درود به شما دوستان و همراهان عزیز. مهمان ما در این برنامه آقای یاکوب میروفسکی، یک ژورنالیست برجسته پولندی هست. ایشان در این اواخر وضعیت مردم هزاره را در افغانستان، پاکستان و همچنان ایران مورد توجه قرار داده و در این مورد دو مقاله بسیار خوب نوشته و این مقاله ها بسیار جامع و مبتنی بر واقعیت های ملموس دردناک که مردم هزاره از سال 1880 به این سو تجربه کردند و میکنند به زبان پولندی نوشته و در سایت دو روزنامه پولندی او را نشر کرده. در این گفتگو در ضمن سپاسگزاری از ایشان در مورد انگیزه کارشان، این که چرا و چگونه هزاره ها در معرض توجهش قرار گرفته، سوال خواهیم کرد. Mr. Mirovsky, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me in this episode.
Thank you very much.
As a Norwegian Hazara, I want to sincerely thank you for shedding light on the suffering and persecution of Hazaras in Afghanistan and also in Iran and Pakistan. It means a lot to see a journalist from outside of the Hazara community take interest in our stories and give a voice to a people who are often ignored. I read both of your articles and shared it with my friends. Your articles have touched many of us profoundly, and I am truly grateful for your courage and empathy. The first question is, what initially drew your attention to the Hazara community and their plight in Afghanistan and as well in Iran and Pakistan?
The Hazaras themselves, when the Kabul fell in 2021, there was evacuation, of course, as we all know. Quite a big number of the people that were evacuated to Poland. I think in general it was around 1,000 people from Afghanistan that came to Poland. A number of those people were Hazaras because Polish army was stationed in Ghazni, and they worked closely with a lot of Hazara people there. So I met with some of them while working on a project about the Afghan refugees in general in Poland. And the Hazaras themselves were very open about their struggles in Afghanistan, even before the Taliban takeover, even during the 20 years of democratization, and before that, during the first Taliban reign. So it was mostly due to the people of the Hazara community that are trying to make their voice heard. I don't think that I can disclose the name of my contacts that I spoke to, but those are people that are very involved in Hazara struggle, and I think that everything that I know, everything that I can share with my readers in Poland is basically due to the people that were willing to share this knowledge with me.
Yeah, but you, as you have already, you have also mentioned in your articles that Hazaras are the third biggest ethnicity in Afghanistan, and their stories and their situation have been often ignored by the international media. Why do you think that the international media tends to overlook or ignore the persecution of the Hazara, despite the severity of their situation, as you have written in both of your articles?
I think it's because a lot of people tend to dismiss what happens in places like Afghanistan or Pakistan or Iran, or there is this, I think, feeling that the persecution that Hazara face in Afghanistan, like these things just happen under a religious regime of the Taliban, that it's not that newsworthy that extremists would do something like this. I don't think that a lot of people, especially in Poland, even have the knowledge of your community even existing, because I think that there is in Europe we mostly focus on what's happening in our countries in Europe. In the United States also, as those are the things that touch us directly. When it comes to Afghanistan, something really terrible has to happen for the people to really close attention to it, like what happened in Kabul in August of 2021. But what I want to say is that there was actually like this short span of time where a lot of media in Poland as well were talking about the Hazara persecution. I was one of the journalists that wrote an article on it. I think that's one of the texts that you have mentioned, but there was this trend in Polish and European media in general to showcase what Hazaras are facing in Afghanistan. And I think it was also, again, due to the fact that Hazaras themselves were very loud about it. I think that it was during the Stop Hazara Genocide campaign on Twitter. So there was this short span of time, and then the topic just died out because I think it's just not in the traditional area of interest for a lot of European and American journalists. And
but
I
you have done, or you continuously doing your part. What impact did you hope your article would have, both in Poland and internationally?
I don't really think that my writing will have like an international impact. I don't think that it would cause any sort of international response from the governments or anything like that. I think that there is a tendency in our media landscape that with a lot of different horrible stuff that's happening all around the world, what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in Palestine, that there is this sort of normalization of the Taliban regime in Afghanistan. I think that throughout this almost 4 years now, we have sort of accepted that there is this religious extremist group in Afghanistan that is killing people, that is persecuting people, that is fighting actively with another terrorist organization, and that is basically a threat to human rights in this country. We thought this is the kind of things that happen in Afghanistan, I guess. So
unfortunately,
I just don't want to. I don't want to normalize it. I want to speak about what the Taliban is doing. I don't think that we can allow ourselves to accept it.
Yeah. Now that you have written these 2 articles, both of them are quite comprehensive. Many people have read it in Poland, certainly. Have you received any responses from the Polish politicians, from the people of Poland, and also Afghan diaspora or human rights organization about your articles?
So the first 2 questions, I would have to unfortunately respond no. There was no response from the Polish government about it. I don't think it's a topic that the Polish government is actively involved in. About the people, there are some people that were also interested in Hazara struggle. I remember that when I first wrote about the Hazara persecution, a soldier who's stationed in Ghazni reached out to me to tell his story about the Hazara people that he took under his when the evacuation happened. He basically asked them to stay with him. But again, I think there is this sort of normalization of terrible things that happen. There are so many persecuted groups in the world that we sort of tend to just put it in the background. I mean, once again, Ukraine, Palestine, what's happening to Uyghurs, for example, in China is also a good example. There was also this one period of time where everyone was writing about the Uyghur cultural genocide in China, and that has stopped abruptly. And I think that's unfortunately what's happening to Hazara. I know that it's not probably a very optimistic response, but it's something.
Of course, it's a we can say a natural part of our world. That there are many people around the world are subjected for these kind of cruelties. But journalism have also a responsibility. Do you believe journalism has a moral obligation to draw international attention to ethnic groups like Hazaras and those groups that you have mentioned, like Uyghurs and other groups? Do you think that the journalism can play a significant role in preventing a further cultural or religious erasure of the Hazara people?
I definitely think that there is a moral obligation on journalists, at least those journalists that are striving to a source of knowledge and a source of for other people to talk about groups that are discriminated against. Because, as I said, a lot of people in Europe, in Poland, don't really have the visibility of the Hazara struggle. There is a very good chance that if people around the world would know more about the Hazaras, they would be louder about stopping that person. But unfortunately, in the current media landscape, it's just not that visible. And regarding whether I think that it can help in stopping this persecution, I'm not sure whether it can. I don't think that we as journalists can allow ourselves to just say we can't do anything about it, so we're just not going to bother. There is definitely feeling of lack of impact, I would say, when you talk about things like the minority rights, also climate change. I'm writing about climate change as well. So there is this feeling that the impact that you're making is very limited, but it's just an excuse to stop writing.
You're a journalist and you know the impact of media. And what do you think we, the Hazara, the members of the Hazara community who are living abroad, and tens of thousands of us living abroad in different countries around the world, what we can do to make our voice heard?
As I said, what the Hazara people have been doing already, the attention that you have gathered, especially in 2022, is something remarkable. I'm not a person who can be some sort of guiding light, because I was guided into the issue of the Hazara people by the Hazara people.
Yeah,
there is definitely a sort of, well, if you would force me to answer that question, I would say look for allies in the media landscape, in the social media landscape as well. Make your voice heard. But that's what the Hazara people have already been doing. As I said, it's my articles, my journalism on the Hazara issue is the direct influence of people from the Hazara community. It's not the other way around. The fact that you are talking to me today, it's basically because someone from the Hazara community opened up about their views on the persecution and asked me to pass it further to the Polish audience, because well, I have the language capability to speak to the Polish audience.
Of course, yeah.
And that's basically it. So make yourself heard. I would say.
Yeah, of course. Once again, your work is very precious, and we appreciate it. And thank you for your attention to the Hazara issue. And I wish you the best of luck and your valuable work. حالا دوستان عزیز، ما میخواییم که مشالوده و خلاصه بسیار مختصر صحبت‌های آقای میروفسکی را با شما در میان بگذارم. البته برای کسایی که انگلیسی را نمیفهمند یا صحبت‌های ایشان را نفهمیدن. سوال من این بود که آقای میروفسکی چی چیزی باعث شده که ایشان به هزاره ها توجه کرده و در مورد هزاره ها نوشته. ایشان گفت که خب کشور پولند به عنوان عضو ناتو یک سری یا یک تعداد از اساکیرش در دمی طول 20 سال در افغانستان در قالب ناتو بود و در منطقه غزنی در اونجا مستقر بودن و وقتی که سال 2021 یعنی سقوط اتفاق افتاد، تعداد زیاد حدود هزار نفر از مردم افغانستان، پناهجویان افغانستانی که تعداد زیادشان هزارها بود، به پولند آمدن، به کشور پولند. و ایشان این آقای میروفسکی از طریق همین پناهجویان هزاره که وارد پولند شدن با هزارها آشناییت بیشتر پیدا کردن و با ارتباط با اونا علاقمندی بیشتر به مسئله هزاره پیدا کرد و شروع کرد. از همونجا شروع شد که ایشان در مورد هزاره ها بنویسد، چون خود هزاره ها یک مردمی بودن که به هر حال داستانشان داستان مهمی بود که باید مردم پولند میشنیدن. بعد در مورد این که چرا جامعه یعنی میدیای بین‌المللی، رسانه‌های بین‌المللی مسئله هزاره ها را نادیده گرفته و اون قدری که باید بهش توجه صورت نگرفته، با اونی که خب وضعیت هزاره ها در افغانستان از سال 1880 به بعد بسیار وخیم بوده، یعنی همیشه در معرض کشتار جمعی قرار داشتن، در معرض تبعیض و کوچ اجباری و از این مسائل. ایشان گفت خب یک از دلایلش میتونه که تعداد زیاد حوادثی که در جهان پشت سر هم اتفاق میفته و همچنان گروه های قومی که در گوشه کنار جهان در معرض خطر مشابه قرار دارن، مثل فلسطین و اویغورها در چین رایشان نام برد. گفتنی تعدد اتفاقاتی که به صورت بسیار با سرعت و شتاب میفته، اینا باعث میشه که توجه میدیا یا رسانه بین‌المللی به طرف دیگر سوق پیدا بکنه. بعدش من گفتم که ازش پرسان کردم که این چیزایی رو که شما نوشتین، همین 2 مقاله رو که نوشتین به زبان پولندی، چقدر بازتاب داشته در جامعه پولند و توجه سیاستمداران پولندی و همچنان سیاستمداران حالا اروپایی را و همین رقم سازمان‌های حقوق بشری را جذب کرده. ایشان گفت تا هنوز کدام بازتاب یا کدام چیزی را از طرف سازمان‌های را یا کسایی را که من نام بردم دریافت نکرده و دلیلش هم همین اتفاقات بسیار زیاده که در جهان اتفاق میفته. گفت دلیلش اونا هست و متاسفانه گفت که در افغانستان یک گروه تندرو مذهبی حاکم است و اونا 4 سال شده که فعلا حاکمیت خود در افغانستان حفظ کرده و این کم کم داره به یک امر نرمال تبدیل میشه و کشورهای مختلف طالبان را به رسمیت، یعنی حضورشان را خلاصه وضعیت را که اونا به وجود آورده به یک شکل برایشان نرمال هست. اما گفت که خب ژورنالیسم یا خبرنگاری، روزنامه نگاری همیشه این کار را خواهد کرد و در مورد مسائل مختلف از جمله در مورد هزاره ها خواهد نوشت. و من پرسان کردم که آیا ژورنالیسم یک وظیفه یا یک رسالت اخلاقی در قبال این گروه هایی که تحت خطر هستند داره که باید در موردشان بنویسه، با اونی که ممکنه شاید زیاد مورد توجه قرار نگیره، اما خب خود ژورنالیسم یا روزنامه نگاری یک ابلیگیشن یا یک وظیفه و رسالت اخلاقی در قبال این گروه های از انسان ها داره یا نداره. و ایشان گفت دقیقاً داره و این کار را ژورنالیست ها خواهند کرد و خودش هم یک از کسایی است که این کار را ادامه خواهد داد و خواهد نوشت. بعدش من در آخر پرسان کردم که شما یعنی پیشنهادتان برای خب مردم هزاره، برای مهاجرین هزاره که در کشورهای مختلف زندگی میکنن و به رسانه ها دسترسی دارن، پیشنهاد شما برای اونا چه هست؟ ایشان گفت خب همین کار را که ما کردیم نتیجه در واقع همرسانی یا نتیجه ارتباطاتی هست که هزاره های دیاسپورا ایجاد کرده. گفت اگر اونا تلاش نمیکردن من شاید در این مورد نمی نوشتم. بنابراین بهترین راهی است که شما از امکانات رسانه‌ای که در اختیار دارین از این استفاده بکنین، لابیگری بکنین و قضیه خود را مطرح بکنین توسط ژورنالیست‌های حالا مختلف که به زبان کشورهای مختلف بنویسن. و گفت که من هم چون پولندی هستم زبان پولندی رو میدانم و او خاطر از طریق ارتباطاتی که با جامعه هزاره در هزاره دیاسپورا داشتیم و اونا باعث شده که من این مسئله را به زبان پولندی برای جامعه پولند بنویسم. به هر حال من به عنوان یک عضو کوچک جامعه هزاره از آقای میروفسکی و کسان دیگه‌ای که در امیر راستا تلاش میکنن تشکری میکنم و سپاسگزار از این اقدام انسانیشان هستم. آقای میروفسکی این برنامه را خواهد دید و کامنت ها را هم خواهد خواند. شما هم اگر فکر میکنین کارشان در خور تقدیر و سپاسگزاری هست، ویدیو را لایک بکنید، با دوستان خود به اشتراک بگذارید و در کامنت ها ازشان اگر انگلیسی بلد هستین به انگلیسی تشکری بکنید، اگر بلد نیستین به همون فارسی هم اگر بنویسین. به هر حال خود یوتیوب همونجا یک ترنسلیشن یا ترجمه اتوماتیک داره و که تعداد از این انسان هایی که واقعا به انسانیت باور دارن و برای کاهش رنج انسان ها کار میکنن تشویق شود و تعدادشان زیاد شود. دوستان عزیز، من لینک که همی هر دو مقاله رو در دیسکریپشن میگذارم. شما میتونید در کامپیوتر خود او رو باز بکنید، در مرورگر گوگل باز بکنید و به زبانی که مسلط هستین میتونید این رو ترجمه بکنید و بخوانید و همچنان اگر خواستین بازنشر هم بکنین همراه دوستانتان تا تعداد بیشتری این مسئله را ببینن و بخوانند. تا برنامه دیگه، خداوندگار عقل و خرد یار و نگهدارتان.